Well, hey there everyone. So this week I've got another bigger project, more that I've been doing. And does this outfit have anything to do with that project this week? Yes, it does. So this I actually found at a Goodwill, and it ended up fitting me very well. It's like a Disney like brand Little Mermaid little romper kind of situation. And I figured that was very fitting for what I'm going to be doing today, because what I'm doing today is a dress from The Little Mermaid. So the dress that I'm going to be doing is the one that she wears when she's already lost her voice and everything, and she's going about the town with Eric. And then it's like during like the whole kiss the girl scene. So it's that blue dress with the bluish corset and whatnot. So that's what I am going to be making today. So for this dress, there are three parts to it. So it's the skirt, and then the blue, light bluish, like puffy sleeved undershirt, and then the little dark blue kind of corset. So I did end up getting a pattern for this. It was from this lovely person on Etsy, because I didn't really feel like figuring out the sleeve puffiness or the corset kind of deal. So I just went ahead and picked up a pattern for this. So for the materials, the main reason that I am able to do this is because I found them all in sheets at Goodwill. Because these colors are really easy to find in a bed sheet, and since it's animation, you don't have to get any specific materials, because I feel like a lot of the time when people do this, they choose like all satin material, and that's expensive, and I could just find them in bed sheets and it'd be perfectly fine. So yeah, so for the skirt, it's a like medium blue compared to the others bed sheet. For the undershirt, it is a light blue bed sheet. And then for the corsety part, it is a dark blue bed sheet. So this is all thrifted, sustainable, and bed sheets and cheap. So let's get into what the heck we're doing today. So I'm going to start off with the skirt, which is different than what I usually do because the skirt seemed less menacing. And I wanted to get it out of the way. So this is going to be... Sorry, I had to sneeze and it isn't coming. So this skirt is going to be a circle skirt. And so what it looks like it has is two half circle panels. Yeah, two half circle panels. And so the front has it so there will be a pleat in the front, and the back is just a regular circle skirt. So I am just going to go ahead and cut those out of the material. And then also cut out is a waistband out of the same material. So I'm going to meet you back after all that. Now that the skirt's cut out, this is a pretty quick process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the pleats in the front of the dress, and then I'm just going to baste it so they stay, and then I'm just going to connect the two skirts together, right sides together. There we go. And then I'm just going to pink the edges because I don't feel like doing a French seam or anything. So once those are pinked, I am going to go ahead and add the waistband. So pretty much what I do for that is just take the strip that I cut out and then basically create like a bi-stape with it, and then I'm just going to sandwich it on top and sew around. And then I forgot, before I do the waistband, I'm also going to add the zipper. So you will notice that instead of stopping when sewing these sides together, instead of creating a little space for the zipper, I sewed it all the way. That's because I'm just going to sew the zipper straight on and then seam rip to expose the zipper, and that helps give it like that more hidden look. And then I'm going to add on the waistband, and then for connecting the waistband, I am just going to add a little hook and eye, and then the waistband will be done. And then the last thing to do for the skirt is to hem it. So it's the same process that I did in the Tingle dress, with that special hemming trick, not trick, with a really small hem. And then the skirt part is done. So I'm going to see you after all that. So I did end up adding an elastic to the waistband just to make the skirt fit just a bit better, and it's just a bit more secure. So that is the last step to the skirt, and then the skirt is done. Now that the skirt is done, it's time to move on to the undershirty part. So this undershirt part, I did end up changing a bit from the pattern, just because I didn't like how tight the shirt part was. So I changed it a bit just to be bit more loose. So I kind of went on a journey with this. So the first things that I'm going to do is cut out the material. So we have the sleeves, the cuffs, the bias tape, and then the front and the back. So again, I did end up recutting out the front and the back, and not adding any darts in it this time, and then making it a bit bigger so I can easily slip it on and off. And then it was also a little short for my liking, so I'm gonna get into what I did for that later. So once those are all cut out, I'm just going to take the front bodice piece and the back bodice piece and then sew them together at the sides and at the arms. And then I'm gonna wait you back after all that. Now that those are all sewn together, I'm going to go ahead and add the bias tape around the neckline. So with that little strip, you just create the little bias tape and then sandwich it and sew it all the way around, and your neck is enclosed. Now for the sleeves, I believe, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them right sides together and sew along that weird little curve that it gives me. And then while I'm sewing that little seam, I'm going to leave a little gap about this big on the cuff piece, because it's going to be the little slit for it to be open. So after I sew that, I'm just going to fold the little seam in twice so that it is encased, and now I have a little opening for my cuff. And then after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather the cuff here, and then add the cuff piece, which again I just make into a bias tape and then sandwich all the way around, and then just put it on and sew it. And then to connect that, I just add a little button, and then the sleeve is pretty much done. So the last thing I have to do is attach it to the shirt, and then I'm going to see you after all that. for finishing off this shirt. So pretty much what I found was that it was a bit too short to tuck into the skirt. And also I found that it was kind of just like a cute shirt to begin with. So what I ended up doing was the shirt ends in a little point, so I ended up chopping that off to be the same length as the back of the shirt, and then I added a peplum onto it so it can be a cute little shirt on its own, and then it adds a little bit of length to be tucked into the skirt later. So once the peplum's added, this shirt is done. And then we'll move on to the corset. Okay, so for the corset, I keep saying that it's corset, but it's not a corset because it doesn't tie in the back. There's a zipper in the back. Basically, there's like 13 pieces for this top, because it's all sectioned off. So there's like front piece, side piece, back piece, like there's tons of tops to tie together. So I'm going to cut all those out of the blue sheet, and the lining is going to be of the same material. So I'm going to cut all those out and then sew them all together. And so what I found was I had to add a bit more length onto it. So on the side, on the back part where the zipper is supposed to be, I just added an extra little square to give it some length. So the zipper is going to go on that part instead. And then for some fitting issues, I ended up taking it in at the top here just a little bit because it was gaping a bit. So I had to do a little bit of sizing with it, and then once that was done, I could redraw the pattern a bit for the lining, and then cut out the lining for this piece. So the lining pretty much is the same as the top except shorter, and then it has like a little strip for the top of the lining. It's a little interesting. So basically what I did is I cut out all the lining pieces, sewed those all together, and then I measured what I changed from the like pieces that I'd adjusted, and then I redrew out that top strip, and then I sewed it onto the lining. And then after all that, you sew it together all the way around the top, the side, and the bottom, and then leave the one side open. So I'm gonna see after all that. So after that's all sewn together, it's time to iron it and whatnot, and then go ahead and add the zipper. So I was still having a little bit of issues with this top. So what I ended up doing, which I didn't really film, was adding some elastic onto the top. I just sewed it on so it like crinkles a bit and tightens it a bit. And then what I ended up doing was adding, which I should have done this before, I just really didn't want to do it, was adding interfacing onto just the top little pointy part so it stays kind of more structured. I'm technically supposed to add the interfacing to all of the outer bodice piece, but I really didn't feel like doing it. So I just, fused it straight onto the inside so it looks a little crappy. And then this piece is done. So I will see you in the final look. Here she is. Turned out decent. I did some last minute fixes on this top here, which made me like it a lot better. I added these two little darts here and then another elastic down the middle of the back, which made it a bit better, just because it was looking a little meh to me. It's still a little meh, but it fits better. These don't like stick out like they did before, and then it makes it a little bit more tight with the elastic, so it's a bit better. I do quite love this shirt, and I am in love with the skirt. Now that I know how to do circle skirts, I don't think I can be stopped. So yeah, and then I just used the bow that I used for Belle's costume from the Beauty and the Beast when she has her like beginning village costume. So I figured that would work because I did forget to make a bow. So that turned out pretty good. Altogether, I think the costume is pretty good. It looks pretty good like the movie. Yeah, I think the different like sheet fabrics worked out really great. I don't think things need to be satin to be, princessy. I just think they need to flow very nicely. Yeah, no harp on the pattern for the corset or anything. I think that was mainly my doing because I didn't really make a mock-up or whatever, so I could have done better, but everything else worked out really great. I love these big poofy sleeves. I'm ready to wear this shirt just as a shirt because I added a really cute peplum. So I think this turned out pretty good considering. Yeah, yesterday when I was making this top, I was pretty discouraged with it, so I was feeling kind of meh. And then this morning I woke up and I was like, okay, let's just fix it a little bit. And so I did, and it turned out way better than I thought it was going to. So I am very happy with how all of it came together. Also, the fact that I didn't have to dye any of these colors. I just literally found them in sheets. This one was great. These two are pretty easy to find, but this one I came across and I was like, it's the Belle color, or not Belle, it's it's the light color of Ariel's skirt in that costume. So this keeps coming up because I'm sitting down and there's no boning. So I am pretty happy with how it came out. Yeah, let me know if you want to see more of these because again, like finding these color sheets are actually really easy, and I like reusing materials rather than going to a landfill. And I also love looking like a princess. So also I feel like since I've mastered the circle skirt and the hemming of it, I think I want to put something over hoop skirt. That's what I want to do really bad. So I don't know if I'm going to do that soon. but I have the longing to, and I have my hoop skirt, and I want to do another hoop skirt dress. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this all came together. So yeah, let me know what else you want to see, because I have more ideas. I did pick up some more fabric to do another dress. So I am excited for that. So any hooty-doo, if you liked what I did, go ahead and like and subscribe. I post most Saturdays, mostly at noon, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.